I'm going to explain to you guys, give you a little bit of an education on suicide, the hows and whys. You know, the warning signs aren't that difficult to see. They're not. The problem is that the protocol for somebody who is abused to the point that they want their life to end is to abuse them further. The first thing you should do if someone is suicidal is ask them why. But they can't even admit that they're suicidal without being punished, without being berated, without being ostracized, without being treated like they are a piece of shit. I'm going to read you something here. Maybe even a few. I'm going to read some examples of my so-called friends and how they treated me when I reached out. I'm also going to read to you from some of these sites. We'll read this one here. It says 5 action steps for helping someone in emotional pain. In 2016, suicide claimed the lives of nearly 45,000 people in the United States, according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, the CDC. Suicide affects people of all ages, genders, races, and ethnicities. Suicide is complicated and tragic, but it can be preventable. Haven't I said that? Knowing the warning signs for suicide and how to get help can help save lives. Part of this is correct. That right there is all true. But then here's 5 steps you can take to be the one to help someone in emotional pain. 1, ask, are you thinking about killing yourself? It's not an easy question, but studies show that asking at-risk individuals if they are suicidal does not increase suicides or suicidal thoughts. Well, here's the thing. Step 2, keep them safe. Reducing a suicidal person's access to highly lethal items or places is an important part of suicide prevention. No! The most important part of suicide prevention is asking them why. None of these, not one of these, says to ask them why. You don't give a fuck why. They don't give a fuck why. They want you to send them to a nuthatch to be shoved pills and called mentally ill. When someone is being abused, that is the wrong fucking thing to do. When someone is tortured to the point that they want their lives to end, when they are prevented from seeing their friends and family, when they are prevented from something so simple as a fucking hug. And what do you do to help them? You have them locked up where they can't see any of their loved ones. That's the reason they want to fucking kill themselves to begin with. So you are literally doing what it is that makes them suicidal. Anyway, we'll continue number 2. Keep them safe. Reducing a person's access to highly lethal items or places is an important part of suicide prevention. While this is not always easy, asking if the at-risk person has a plan and removing the disabling and lethal means can make a difference. What a fucking piece of shit. They want their life to end for a reason. Instead of finding out that reason, that's not even on their goddamn list. It's not even on the fucking list. If someone wants to die because their daddy is fucking raping them every day, and they reach out to you for help, they tell you that they have been pushed to the point that they want their life to end, and what do? You have them locked up. You treat them like they're mentally ill or schizophrenic for reaching out to you for help. Terry Jepson, Kim Jepson, Brandon Jepson. Now, I'm not going to go into how cruel Brandon Edward Jepson was. Kim wasn't cruel like that. Terry was not cruel like that. Number 3, be there. Listen carefully. This one right here is a good one. Listen carefully and learn what the individual is thinking and feeling. Research suggests acknowledging and talking about suicide may in fact reduce rather than increase suicidal thoughts. That right there, number 3, that is the one that Terry Jepson is incapable of. That is the one that Brandon Jepson is incapable of. That is the one that Kim Jepson is incapable of. This is the one that all of you are incapable of. You are too busy telling them how to think and feel than to hear what they have to say. You're too busy telling the victims that they're making excuses. Number 4, help them connect. Save the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline's number in your phone so it's there when you need it. 1-800-273-TALK or 1-800-273-8255. You can also help make a connection with a trusted individual like a family member. I don't have any of those. Friends, obviously, I don't have any of those. Spiritual advisor, I don't have any of those. Or mental health professional, I got one of those. I do have one of those. Most people can't listen. Let me read you why Terry can't listen. We'll go up here to the messenger, Terry Wilmoth Jepson. I typed to her this morning, this is why assisted suicide should be legal. I've been contemplating suicide for years, every time someone looks away or throws me away. If I had killed myself in 2016, people would remember me for who I am, not for who I have to be to defend myself. They would remember the things I did for them instead of the rumors that they hate me for. She types to me, please don't talk to me about suicide, or please don't talk to me about suicide to me, Sean. Now it's a suicidal thing here. It says, listen carefully and learn what the individual is thinking about and feeling. Research suggests acknowledging and talking about suicide may in fact reduce rather than increase suicidal thoughts. Also up here it says, let's see, Um, Suicide is complicated and tragic, but it can be preventable. Knowing the warning signs for suicide and how to get help can help save lives. Listening, that's number 3, isn't it? Now, here's the help them connect. When somebody is being abused, when they're pushed to the point of wanting their life to end because of abuse, suicide hotline does not help them. Suicide hotline doesn't do a goddamn thing about the abuse. You know what suicide hotline does if you're suicidal? They have you locked up, separated from your telephone, your ability to communicate with anybody at all. How is it okay to bully someone to the point that they want their lives to end and then punish them for being victimized so much? Stay connected. People didn't stay connected. They threw me away like I was fucking trash. I never, ever got to defend myself against that slander. Why? Because when you lie about a man like that, everyone runs for the fucking hills. They go, I don't want my name associated with that. Staying in touch after a crisis or after being discharged from care can make a difference. Studies have shown the number of suicide deaths goes down when someone follows up on the at-risk person. How many of you have bothered to check in on me? I don't mean asking how I am and then ignoring me for 6 fucking months. There's a guy today. Tried reaching out to him. He called me the other day, said he was trying to reach out. I called him right back. He didn't answer. Today he asked how I was doing. I answered immediately. He still hasn't seen it or replied. People don't stay connected. Kim didn't stay connected. Terry didn't stay connected. Brandon didn't stay connected. Now, I would give you the names of the 10 most hurtful people who did this, but I'm not going to, because if I do end up killing myself, and it's not a plan, but if I do end up killing myself, I don't want those people to have to feel that for the rest of their lives, knowing that their fucking cruelty, their lack of an ability to be there and listen, their lack of an ability to stay connected, their straight up lack of give a shit. People don't kill themselves for nothing. They are pushed to it. Now you got 2 different sides here. Some people, when they are pushed like that, they blow their own heads off. And some of them, when they are pushed off like that, they walk into a school and blow away 30 of your fucking kids. Maybe instead of treating me like I'm the son of a bitch who's going to go shoot all your kids, maybe you acknowledge the fact that I'm not killer material. I fight for your kids' rights. I fight for your rights. But you don't give a holy goddamn about mine. Now let's continue reading this from Terry. Please don't talk to me about suicide to me, Sean. Now it says there that talking about suicide can help to reduce the risk. But then let's hear her reasoning. She says, I have been through too much. I agree. But she also has family who cares. She has her own place. And the people in that place, if there is an issue, she can go to them and they will help her. If these things happened to Terry Jepson, it wouldn't have taken her family 10 minutes to fucking be Johnny on the spot and do something. Say, hey, this is wrong. But it didn't happen to Terry, and it wouldn't happen to Terry. These things don't happen to women. That's because our society doesn't believe that women can be predators. Our society tells us that men are always the bad guys. When a woman has emotional issues, we are expected to care, but when a man has emotional issues, you just simply don't. She types, I lost my little brother a year and a half ago, and now a student, both to suicide. I'm aware of that. I am aware of that. Types, it hurts. It is raw. My heart can't handle it. Seven of my friends committed suicide this year or killed themselves this year. 7 of them. I've had a lot of people that I care about that have died just in the last month. I've been reaching out for help for 5 years. This is how I get treated when I need help. My heart hurts too. I don't use it as an excuse to allow harm to others or to look away from harm to others. It's my fire. It's what keeps me going. When people lose hope, they die. When their hope is gone, they die. They commit suicide or they stop eating. An entire year before Natalie died, anybody with half a brain could see that I had changed drastically. Why? What is it that made me change so drastically? It's called abuse. And the more I reached out to try to get help, the more I was abused for reaching out for help. She types, it hurts. It is raw. My heart can't handle it. I can't go there. I love you. Please know that, but don't do this to me. I can't handle it. I just saw a beautiful young soul laid to rest. Never got to say goodbye to my Ricky or have a funeral due to lockdowns and COVID. I am raw inside and bleeding. Please, Sean, stop. Sean, just live. You know what I would give to just hug that woman right now? Do you? She made this post. When you wake up tomorrow, be thankful. Be thankful for your family. Be thankful for your friends. Be thankful for the life that you have, the roof over your head, and the food you have to eat. Hold someone a little tighter, stay a little longer, and tell someone you love them. Be thankful for your family. What family? My family has looked away for 5 years. Be thankful for your friends. For 5 years, my friends made every excuse to do nothing. Every excuse. We'll continue reading. I replied, I can't kill myself now because Kim will know she was the last straw and it will hurt her, and I can't have that. She typed, she is devastated by what you wrote. I typed, I told her the truth. I told all of you the truth. Terry wrote, she is so hurt. She never once meant to hurt you. And I said that, didn't I? She didn't mean to. That's why I offered to send her that information on suicide. So that she would understand. Instead, I got thrown away. She typed, she is so hurt. She never once meant to hurt you. I love you, Sean. Please just live and be kind. I typed, you can't handle it, and neither can I. She typed, no, I can't. I miss my Ricky so much, and there are too many what ifs, and I wish. So please give me peace and kindness, and know I love you, and I am so glad you okay, except I'm not okay. I typed, between asking for help and killing myself, I tried to get help. I was ignored, ostracized, assaulted, imprisoned. I'm reaching out for help as I have for the last 5 years. She types, good night, Sean. I'm tired, I'm sad, and I just want rest and peace. My health hasn't been the best, so no, I'm wishing you all the best. Sending you my love and going to bed. I type, be safe. She writes, please stop putting me on YouTube. I'm getting messages of people listening to it. I didn't know you recorded me. Take them down. I won't. I absolutely will not. I'm not going to stop telling the truth. I'm not going to stop showing you why it is that you are killing the victims. You are victimizing the victims. You are harming people further for reaching out for help. And I don't know any better way to get you to understand than to show you. I've got thousands of recordings, Terry. Thousands. Let's look at some of the warning signs of suicide. Obviously, I'm trying to get help instead of kill myself. Obviously, I am speaking out instead of trying to kill myself. When I had to go to the police who abused me to try to get help, obviously I was trying to get help, not trying to kill myself. If I was trying to kill myself, I wouldn't have gone to them for help. I'd have just blown my head off. After Natalie was killed in 2018 and all of the cruelty that I had to go through, you know what I did? I killed myself. I took 3 bottles of caffeine pills and a bottle or a thing of sleeping pills over the cruelty that I was enduring and the fact that my friends didn't care. They just wanted to look away. I've lost people too. I don't get to use that as an excuse, do I? People are dead. People are dead. Warning signs of suicide. The behaviors listed below may be some of the signs that someone is thinking about suicide, talking about wanting to die. I'm not allowed to say that because you will be offended. It makes you sad to hear it. Well, the fact is, because you don't want to hear it, you push people to suicide. They're reaching out to you for help. Talking about great guilt or shame. Being a burden to others. I am treated like a burden. Treated like a burden. Like reaching out to her for help. Yeah, that makes me a burden, doesn't it? Feeling empty, hopeless, trapped, or having no reason to live. Extremely sad, more anxious, agitated, or full of rage. Unbearable emotional or physical pain, but you don't feel it. She feels that. It registers to her because she feels it. But it's not registering to her that I feel that too. Unlike her, I don't have a Ron to go to. I don't have a Kim to go to. This is why you push people to suicide. They reach out for help and you treat them like they are a burden. I know you've lost people. It's because you don't know what to do when someone reaches out for help. You don't want to hear it. 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 Then they blow their heads off and you say, I didn't see it coming, or I should have listened more. Find out why they're suicidal. Find out why they want their life to end. And do something about that. Locking them up, forcing pills down their throat, and calling them mentally ill destroys any chance of them stopping the abuse. When someone is raped by their dad to the point that they want their life to end, and they reach out to their friend and say, hey, my dad's raping me. I want my life to end. You have 2 choices there. You can do something to help stop the rape, or you can have them locked up where they will be injected with drugs or forced to take pills called mentally ill. And now their word no longer means a goddamn thing in court. Now they can't turn in their predator because nobody is going to listen. Nobody wants to hear it. It makes you sad to hear somebody who is screaming for help. What hurts worse? What hurts worse? Hearing them tell you, or the aftermath? When you realized that they had reached out to you for help over and over and over again. And now they're dead, and you tell yourself, I should have listened. You're right. You should have. You should have. You are absolutely right. Suicide is on the rise for a reason. When it happens to you, you want help. If you have family, you get that help immediately. If you don't, you're screwed. You just have to take the abuse. I've gone through 5 years of this. People say, take it down, take it down. Huh. Let's see. Changing behavior, such as making a plan or researching ways to die, withdrawing from friends, saying goodbye, giving away important items, or making a will. Taking dangerous risks, such as driving extremely fast, displaying extreme mood swings, eating or sleeping more or less, using drugs or alcohol more often. Just so you know, many of those things are exactly the same as when someone has gone through extreme trauma. When someone is being severely abused, they exhibit these exact same signs. The signs of suicide are the same signs as abuse. Let's look this up. Get you an education. When someone is suicidal, you treat them like a burden. But after they're dead, we'll get into that because I don't want you guys thinking that I'm claiming I'm going to kill myself. I'm trying to read to you the stuff from the professionals. 5 signs of emotional abuse. They are hypercritical or judgmental towards you. They ignore boundaries or invade your privacy. They are possessive and or controlling. They are manipulative. They often dismiss you and your feelings. Let's go to the very last one here. They often dismiss you and your feelings. Neglect is abuse, just so you know. What behaviors are signs of abuse? Constant worry about doing something wrong. Speech problems or delays in learning and emotional development. Depression and low self-esteem. Doing poorly in school. Extreme behaviors such as being way too obedient or way too demanding. Headaches and stomach aches with no clear cause. Before Natalie died, I was way too obedient. After Natalie died, I was way too demanding. Asking for help is apparently too much to ask for. Apparently, asking for the help that you have every day, that you take for granted, but it's just too much, isn't it? It's just too demanding for me to ask for that, isn't it? There are behavioral changes in someone who is being abused, and I have exhibited all of those things. But instead of acknowledging it, I get gaslighted, I get shat upon. I get treated like I am the villain for asking for help. Terry didn't mean when she was typing that stuff, she wasn't trying to vilify me for trying to reach out for help. But that is exactly what she's done. And she's been the nicest one about it. A lot of people want to get pissed off at me because I curse. When I asked nicely and spoke nicely, I wasn't heard. I didn't want to curse. I didn't want to name call. When I reached out, I was dismissed by every single person I reached out to. Many of them didn't even realize they were doing it. You're allowed to hurt, but I'm not. When you hurt, your family is there for you. When I hurt, I just hurt. When you tell somebody who was victimized 20 years ago that they just need to let it go, that makes sense. When they're still enduring the abuse and you tell them just to let it go, what you are telling them to do is just to lay down and take the abuse and to shut up. Don't talk about your abuse, just take it. We don't want to hear it. We don't care enough about you to stop the abuse. I verbally abuse people. I certainly do. I use those curse words. Not because I want to curse at everybody. I don't want to curse at everybody. But I wasn't heard when I asked nicely. With that situation with Natalie Bollinger, I typed my story out. I typed out what happened in Virginia. I posted it up because people were hurting me and I needed them to know what really happened. I reached out for an entire year before Natalie was killed. Boys start killing themselves at 5 times the rate of girls at the age of 15 because nobody cares. Girls start cutting themselves at 5 times the rate of boys starting at the age of 15 because girls aren't given that whole man up, man up, man up, nobody cares. When a woman asks for help, she is a lot more likely to get it, but that is no guarantee. It says here, what does it mean to gaslight someone? Gaslighting happens when an abuser tries to control a victim by twisting their sense of reality. An example of gaslighting would be a partner doing something abusive and then denying it happened. Gaslighters may also convince their victims that they're mentally unfit or too sensitive. If I show any emotions about my abuse, you treat me like a psycho. Emotionally, I am right where I am supposed to be, given what I have been through. Signs of abuse. We'll go to images. That seems to be the best one for me to read. Now, I've gone through all of this and explained it, but obviously You are incapable of understanding it, so I'm reading it to you. The cycle of abuse. You've got the honeymoon, that's the apologies, promises of change, gifts, compliments, periods of calm. The next cycle is tension, insults, threats, accusations, fault finding, controlling behaviors, and quick mood changes. Explosions, throwing things, door slamming, destruction of property, physical restraint, verbal assaults, raging physical or sexual assault. And then the break. I have been through this cycle of abuse repeatedly, over and over and over. It got to the point where I started giving it back, something I never wanted to do. Laws that are supposed to protect me from this. But those laws don't exist unless someone cares enough to actually ensure that they're applied. You ask any one of these people who threw me away how I was before all this versus after. And I got a lot more short temper now. You really think I wanted to put this stuff on Facebook and YouTube? No, I was trying to get a fucking court date before Natalie died. I was trying to get help from every friend that I knew because I was being abused, and all of them did exactly what Terry did for 5 goddamn years. People didn't just do this after Natalie died. When people actually care about you, they make the time. They make the time. When people say, I don't have time, they're telling you that they don't care. Between telling on their abusers and telling on them for wanting their life to end, you try to push them to end their lives by having them harmed for reaching out to you for help. Kim's not a bad person, she just doesn't understand. Brandon, on the other hand, a lot of people want me to take the truth down. They want me to hide the truth. They want me to sit in the corner and just take it. This is why people commit suicide. Because you get dismissive or abusive when they reach out for help. And then when they scream for help, you treat them like they're a horrible person. Well, when they ask nicely, how did you fucking treat them? You blew them off. You're allowed to have emotions, but I'm not. You're allowed to be hurt, but I'm not. You have family to help you cope with these things, and I do not. If Kim Jebsen needed to make a police report and she felt unsafe doing so alone, It wouldn't take her 30 seconds of asking for someone to go in with her for it to happen. I'm glad that Terry doesn't have to go through this. I am glad Kim does not have to go through this. I'm even glad that Brandon Edward Jepson doesn't have to go through this. Ativan Lord. I want my Ativan. Ativan Lord types also. I want Chris. I told Chris about the 66.6 milligrams you took. Chris Johnson is besting me in the corner. Terry, I never wanted to go to the internet. I never wanted to deal with people like Ativan Lord. I get that you don't want people to know the truth. My mom doesn't want people to know the truth. Dual County Sheriff's Department doesn't want people to know the truth. All right. I suppose we should stick to routine, right? Routine is pretty important for people who are autistic. What do we do when we have trolls on my channel? That's right. You go over to the side here. We click on the three dots. And we go down to hide user on this channel. I can't do that in real life. I'm not allowed to defend myself against my predators. Do you not get that? I love these people. I can't turn that off. If I could, they couldn't hurt me. If I could make myself not love these people, they couldn't hurt me. I don't use my emotional pain as an excuse to turn a blind eye. I've been speaking out and I've been helping others. Before Natalie was killed and after, many of the people that I helped took advantage of me. But I can't stop loving them. I wish I could. After what Desiree did to me, when I rescued her not once but twice from a trap house in Cheyenne. God, she did some horrible shit to me. Stole all my things. When you're a male, you're in a really tough spot. Because if you piss off a woman, she can say things that will get you targeted and harmed for the rest of your life. I don't hate these people. I hate what they did to me. And I'm not talking about Terry. I'm not talking about Kim. I'm talking about Natalie. I'm talking about Maddie. That'd be Natalie Bollinger and Maddie Boa and Brandon Jepson. And Jason Jeffson. That's right, I do love Jason. I don't even like him, but I do love him. I remember when I got dropped off at 18 years of age with jack shit out of the system. I remember that it was Jason and Kim who helped me to stay in the loft at their parents' house. These people aren't trying to push me to suicide. They're not being intentionally hurtful. They're just not educated. Rather than getting an education, they choose to do the same hurtful things over and over again. Terry didn't have thousands of people threatening and harassing her when her brother died. Kim didn't have thousands of people threatening to kill her or her family when her uncle died. These people weren't accused of murdering that man. They didn't have that stuff spread all over the news. They didn't have a bunch of web sleuth groups egging people on. They haven't been incarcerated for trying to turn in their predators. And they sure as hell wouldn't have to go to their predators to turn in those predators. Being told that I have to go to Scott DaCosta to turn in Scott DaCosta is horrible. After what he did in 2018 to help his officers get away, it is inappropriate to force me to have to go to him when crimes are committed against me or any of his deputies. Terry's oldest son, his name is Michael Jepson, and he's a sheriff. He worked for one of the most crooked sheriffs we ever had in Chapel, Nebraska, Jim Hayes. He married Jim Hayes' daughter. I can show the truth, but I'm not allowed because when I tried to get help, I was locked up and force-fed drugs so that my words no longer matter. My words are no longer worth listening to. But you're not dealing with that, so it's okay. How much of abuse did you take when Ricky killed himself? How much abuse are you taking now? How many people are abusing you over it? How many of your friends and family threw you away like you were trash? Terry, I needed your help. I needed Brandon's help. I needed Kim's help. I needed anyone's help at all who was actually willing to help. I had to go to meth dealers and alcoholics for help. Someone named Denzel Cocker just posted something and then retracted the message. I don't know what it says, and it probably doesn't matter. A lot of people hate me for telling the truth. And they hate me even worse that I showed it. Terry wants me to take those videos down. Those videos show I was telling the truth. Mandy Hughes wanted me to take those videos down, but those videos show that I was telling the truth. Alyssa Rainwater wants me to take my videos down, but those videos show I was telling the truth. I'm not going to hide the truth just because you are offended by it. Every single one of these people, every single one of them, had the chance and opportunity to do this the right way, to do this in court. Every single one of these people had that chance. I told all of you, don't tell me anything you are not willing to tell the police. And if the police won't listen, I will tell the world. Terry didn't know those videos were up. Nobody did. There are, I believe, a grand total of, other than with the police, there's a grand total of 4 or 5, maybe, of those videos. And guess what? In all of those videos that people knew they were being recorded, they lied. Why don't I tell people that I'm recording it? Because I don't want them to fucking lie. Each and every one of these people that I reached out to for help did the exact things that you are not supposed to do. Because they're uneducated. I want you to imagine that you're trying to turn in Cody Selhorst, who is an officer in this town, and you're trying to turn in Jared Hahn, who is an officer in this town. By the way, he's on the city council now. He got to help Scott DaCosta decide whether or not I was allowed medical treatment while I was in prison. Had I been a convicted felon, I would have gotten that medical treatment. I was denied that medical treatment by the very predators I was trying to turn in. It is against the law to treat a human being the way that I was treated in prison. And then there's all of the other things that happen in prison, the other treatments that, according to the law, it is against the law to do these things to a human being unless they are a convicted felon, which I am not. I wasn't even charged with felonies. I was charged with misdemeanors by the same exact predators I was trying to turn in. Can I expect the Martindales to be honest about William Barr? No, I cannot. William Barr is family. I'm not. I still do my best to try to help find missing people. I still do my best to do something about the reason that people are suicidal. I have people reach out to me all the time that are suicidal. And the first thing I do is find out why. Now, although that's not on the list, the fact is we can go to, what number was it? Number 3. Listen, here's one: suicide versus suicidal. Suicide, considered a tragedy. Suicidal, considered attention seeking. Suicide, everyone feels bad. Suicidal, everyone feels irritated. Is Terry irritated? Yes, she is. You think she'd feel bad if I blew my head off? Suicide, everyone wishes they saw the signs. Holy shit! If I'm not making my signs completely obvious, no wonder suicide is such a big problem in this country. Suicidal. Suicide. Everyone is present. Suicidal. Everyone tries to avoid them. Suicide. Everyone wishes they saw the signs. Suicidal. Everyone dismisses them. Suicide. Everyone wishes they hadn't done it. Suicidal. No one believes they'll ever do it. This is how I get treated. I get treated like I am attention seeking. I am seeking attention. I am trying to bring attention to the abuse that I have to endure every fucking day. These people treat me like I am a burden. They are irritated that I am trying to get help. They avoid me. They throw me away like I am trash. I am dismissed over and over and over again. As if I don't matter, because I don't matter to them. Nobody believes they'll do it. Guess what? I have already killed myself. It wasn't over the abuse that I was taking from these predators. It's over how my supposed friends treated me when I reached out for help to put a stop to it over a year before Natalie was killed. Y'all didn't notice the behavioral change? Miss Peaches, when I went to her to try to get help before Natalie died, I wasn't just blown off, I was treated like shit. But I needed the help. And finally, just before Natalie blew her fucking head off, Miss Peaches said she was going to help. I brought all of the evidence that I needed so Miss Peaches could take a look at it. We were going to take a look at it right after dinner. I had a cast iron skillet in one hand, and I had a thing of chorizo in the other. And I was going to cook dinner, and then we were going to sit down and work on it. When I got the phone call saying that Natalie was missing, I hit the fucking floor. I couldn't move. I've been trying to tell these people what's going on. I've been trying to show them. But the protocols for when someone is suicidal are wrong. Find out why they want to die and do something about that. Instead of taking away their voice, instead of taking away their rights as a human being by forcing psychotropic drugs into their system. It's okay though, isn't it? You call somebody mentally ill and you have an excuse to abuse them for life. Nobody is ever going to believe them. No court is ever going to listen to them. They have to depend on you to do that for them because they are not allowed. Here's one: fact versus fiction. Myths about suicide. Let's see. Suicidal thoughts may occur when someone is in crisis and can see no alternatives. These thoughts can happen to anyone. Even if you do not have mental illness, you are not crazy. That's the fact. See, the fact side is in green and the fiction side is in blue. The blue side, only crazy people think about suicide. Now, which one of these did you choose when you decided to treat me? The second one, though it may be uncomfortable, talking openly and honestly about suicide is a good thing. Open discussion about suicide shows you care and want to help. It's the first step to getting help. Terry. The fiction side, talking about suicide will encourage the person to do it. You know, the first one, the fact side, has actually got some fiction in it. You have to be afraid to talk openly about suicide because if you do, there's a chance that instead of helping you, they're going to have you sent to a nuthatch. Let's see, fact. Now, mind you, these are really tiny words, so I'm having problems reading them. I'm having to squint. All right, I went to the actual page. Fact, suicidal thoughts and feelings are a tentative response to a situation that feels unbearable. When someone sees no way out, you can help someone by exploring different perspectives of their situation to help cope in a different way. Like if they're being abused, go in with them so that they can safely make a police report. This ain't complicated. Now, of course, there's the fiction. Once you start having suicidal thoughts, those feelings never go away. You know, Boulder police abused the shit out of me. That's what Natalie rescued me from. It wasn't the abuse by the Boulder police that pushed me to suicide. It was that after I hurt my back, my friends just stopped giving a shit. I could no longer do things for them, so I no longer mattered. When Natalie rescued me, and I was suicidal the whole time, but you know what? I had a few moments of happiness. Natalie gave those to me. But you know what? After what she did, those moments hurt. Remembering Virginia Beach hurts. Remembering the pagoda at the pier hurts. Those are things that Natalie and Alicia asked me to do. And they were wonderful experiences. And now they are painful memories. There is one person on this planet whose presence makes all of that go away. And that's Jamie's son. Because nobody else cares. Here's the fact side. Threatening or joking about suicidal behaviors is always cause for concern and should be followed up with professional care. Threatening suicidal behavior is a sign that more effective coping skills are needed. Fiction. Only attention seekers mention suicide. Fact. Suicidal thoughts and behaviors does not mean the individual wants to die. It's more likely that the person does not know how to make their situation better and or where to get help. And the fiction side. Someone has suicidal thoughts, wants to die. If someone is suicidal and reaching out to you, they're trying to get help. Not help killing themselves, but help with the abuse. Before Natalie was killed, I was telling people, help me or kill me. Help me end the abuse. Also, I have almost no respect for hospital staff. The police told the hospital in Longmont that I was schizophrenic. The cops here told the hospital that I was schizophrenic. Told the jails I was schizophrenic. Told the prison I was schizophrenic. And you wonder why nobody would fucking listen to me. These things happen because you allowed them. When I reached out for help, how did you treat me? You treated me like I was attention seeking. You got irritated with me. You're allowed to get irritated, but if I'm irritated, I must be a psycho, right? Everyone tries to avoid them. That's right, you threw me away for trying to get help. Everyone dismisses them. Exactly. You just gotta love yourself. That is so fucking dismissive. That is such a shitty fucking thing to say to somebody. But that doesn't even register in your head, does it? Of course it doesn't. And nobody believes they'll ever do it. Oh no, if you were suicidal, you would have done it already. Yeah, and what did I do? I took a whole bunch of fucking pills. And I killed myself. You allowed it. It's not that I didn't reach out for help, it's that you didn't care. It did not matter enough. I am not enough of a human being to you. If these things happen to people in your family, you would do something. You would find a way to do something. But when it's me, you say, I don't know what to do. Well, I'll tell you what to do. Recognize that that person is a person too. Acknowledge what they are going through. If someone is suicidal, please take them seriously. It could save their life. That's what it says at the very bottom of this. All right, I'm back to this so I can read the comments, I guess. If nothing else, I'm at least consistent. We got a spammer over here. Hide user on this channel. Chip in the block 1 typed, that is the main reason I won't tell people how I feel, because I know the people around me will treat me like shit because they don't understand. She typed, just found this channel and wanted to say, stay strong, man. People don't register how hurtful they are. And when you tell them, they don't want to hear it. It's kind of like an alcoholic. You know, as long as you don't confront the alcoholic about their alcoholism, they're not going to take it out on you. When I confronted Teresa Orn about her alcoholism, she got evil. When I confronted Shannon Alvarado about her alcoholism, she got evil. You know, when I called up Terry to ask for help when I was in Bristol, Virginia, I was at a meth house. I didn't know that Brett was doing meth until I got there. And I needed a way out of there. I just needed a way out. Terry, you want me to take down my video recordings with you? I want you to imagine how Brett feels. There's a video on my YouTube channel where Brett Roloff is searching through his own feces trying to find a bag of meth he swallowed. That's where I was when I was asking you for help. There's a video on this channel, several videos, of how volatile that situation was. How Brett and his girlfriend were constantly screaming at each other. You think Brett wants those down? You damn right he does. There's a video on this channel of the container of methamphetamines that they left at the house when they went to North Carolina. Complete strangers cared more than anybody I know in person. The ways that you are not supposed to treat someone who is suicidal. All of these people have done exactly those things. Instead of trying to help, they try to push me to suicide. Some of them intentionally. And the ones who are doing it unintentionally, it's because they don't have an education. And rather than get an education, they would rather throw you away. Every time. I'm glad Terry doesn't have to go through this. I'm glad she has a husband. I'm glad that it is her roof over her head. I'm glad that she is able to work. I reached out to Terry repeatedly. She's not the only one. Is Terry evil for doing this? No, she is not. Absolutely not. But it is that exact treatment that pushes people to suicide. When people wanted to treat me like shit and telling me to blow my head off for trying to get help before Natalie died. That feels horrible. But I'm not going to pretend I haven't typed those things back to, well, some of those people. Miss Peaches told me to blow my head off. After, click over to here. After getting irritated with me for trying to get help, for asking her to tell the truth and come forward, after dismissing me repeatedly over and over and over again, there's always some excuse why you can't help. Always some excuse why you can't keep your word. You don't want to hear it? You think I should just man up? You want me to understand your emotional pain, but you don't want to understand mine? You want to tell me how much I am hurting you by telling you the truth. And the truth that I am telling you is how much I hurt. You're allowed to be hurt, Terry, but I'm not. Does that not register to you in any moral fashion? You know, I went to a lot of people and told them what was going on, and they told me, oh, I believe you, I believe you, I believe you. I was trying to show them the evidence. Then later on, when they throw me away like trash, they say, hey, man, I went to you for help. I tried to show you what was going on. You said that you would help. Why haven't you come forward? Well, because I don't know anything. I didn't see any of the evidence. I wasn't there. I don't want you to tell me you believe me. When you tell me you believe me, instead of looking, it shows you don't give a shit. Is Terry a bad person? No, she's not. Is Kim a bad person? No, she's not. Suicide prevention starts with not blowing them off, with not passing the buck. You don't want to deal with it, so you pass them off to a system that is going to abuse them. You believe the government should take care of them. Yeah, the government takes care of them, The way that the Nazis took care of the Belgians. Lock you up and shut you up. When the cops that you're trying to turn in tell the hospital staff that you're schizophrenic, the hospital staff don't listen to a goddamn word you have to say. Now, since Terry Jepsen and Kim Jepsen are both nurses, I hope to hell that they get an education before they get innocent people killed. Before they write something down as if it's fact because a cop told them. A cop cannot diagnose you with schizophrenia. And any staff member at a hospital who writes that down is committing a crime. But you're ignorant, so it's okay. But when someone tries to show you, to educate you, you look away. You are choosing to remain ignorant. And at that point, you are no longer ignorant. You are selectively ignoring it. You are choosing to ignore it. And that is the root word of ignorance, to ignore. You want to ignore what's going on, but you want to give advice. You want to ignore the abuse, but tell me how to feel. Meanwhile, you're allowed to express how you feel, but I'm not. I'm expected to sit in the corner and take it. Many of these people did not intentionally try to push me to kill myself, but they did, they have, and they continue to do so. When someone is called mentally ill, they should be allowed assisted suicide. Here's what assisted suicide gives the option of. Let's say someone is being victimized because of a rumor. We'll give my life as an example. Natalie Bollinger lied and claimed that I stalked her. And I have proven time and again, but never been allowed to prove it in the media, never been allowed to show that in court. Natalie Bollinger claimed that I stalked her. And so her friends started getting a hold of me and threatening my life and threatening my family and assaulting me and accusing me of being a child molester and a rapist. Natalie never said those things about me. I tried to let her know. I tried to let the police know. I tried to let my friends know. For an entire year before she was fucking killed. You want the truth down? Are you a good person? Is that a very Christian thing to do? No, it's not. And again, yes, it is. Are we talking about actual believers in Christ, or are we talking about manipulators in his name? The Bollinger family are manipulators in his name. Terry's getting a hold of her to let her know that there's stuff on Facebook that I posted. While I've got people getting a hold of me threatening to kill me and my family. But Terry's not going through it. You don't like that I scream for help. You don't like that I curse for help. You don't like that I post publicly the truth. But at least it's the truth. The things that you said, you did say. You're pissed off that people can hear that you said those things. You're pissed off at me for telling the truth and for showing the truth. Let's get back to our education here. Displaying extreme mood swings. These are warning signs of suicide. They're also signs of extreme abuse. That's right. You abuse someone to the point that they're suicidal, and then you punish them for being suicidal. Instead of punishing them for being suicidal, do something about the abuse. Don't blow them off. If you care, you make the time. You make the time. I don't know Ang Pogiago. I don't even know her. But I am making the time to try to help find her. I didn't know Selena Not Afraid. But I still made the time to try to help find her. I know Desiree. And when she was stuck in a trap house in Cheyenne, Wyoming, I rescued her not once, but twice. All of these things since Natalie was killed. I don't get the luxury of looking away because it's happening to me. Terry has the luxury of looking away because it's not happening to her. Kim has the luxury of looking away because it's not happening to her. Miss Peaches, aka Kayla Trujillo, gets the luxury of looking away because it's not happening to her. Kimberly Vala Martinez gets the luxury of looking away because it's not happening to her. Nicole Gerald gets the luxury of looking away because it's not happening to her. Jeff Ritter gets the luxury of looking away because it's not happening to him. Many of the people that I went to for help became my predators. Now, when you have to turn in a cop, you have to have someone go in with you if you are called mentally ill. Now, let's look at Britney Spears. Do you know why people who are called mentally ill need a guardian? So that their rights aren't trampled the way that mine have been. So that if somebody who is mentally ill is abused, something can be done about the abuse. Because when someone is called mentally ill, they're not even allowed to speak up in court. They're not allowed to show evidence. Now, somebody who's called mentally ill can be railroaded and convicted and prevented from defending themselves, prevented from showing evidence. I'm sure Natalie didn't want all of these people to do this evil shit to me, but she wasn't willing to put a stop to it. Neither were the cops. Neither was Joanna Taylor Smith. Neither was Marcus Swanigan. Neither was Jamie Curtis. It's not that I wasn't trying to get help. It's that no one would fucking help me when it mattered. I explained to people repeatedly, if you don't go in with me, this is how I will be treated. And then when I was treated that way, you treated me like shit. Meanwhile, my predators have done this to others. The very same predators that you blew me off for trying to tell you about harmed a lot more people. Terry Jepson, I want you to know that Waylon Lolatai, the officer who assaulted me after Natalie was killed, he assaulted 6 more people that year. When I tried to turn in Officer Waylon Lolatai, I was sent to Clearview Behavioral Health, where I was abused. And when I reached out to all of you for help, you treated me like I was schizophrenic. You treated me like I was a nut job. And then when they killed Tibor Hatay, doing the exact things that they did to me, you still looked away. He was killed in that exact same facility, by the exact same auction, by the exact same, God, what do you call it? Should I call it protocol? I really should. It's cruelty, but it's perfectly legal, isn't it? Legal does not make something okay. Slavery was legal. Slavery, according to the South, is ordained by God because there are instructions in the Bible on how to treat your slaves. Meanwhile, the Southerners did not treat their slaves that way. Do not throw the law in my face as a measure of morality, especially when you are going to ignore the crimes against me. When you are going to look away and allow them to happen. When you do that, you force me to do extreme things to try to get help. You know, I'd rather not scream. I'd rather not shout. I'd rather not name call. I'd rather not curse. If it weren't for the fact that those are the only things that you understand, you blow me off and blow me off and blow me off and blow me off when I am trying to be calm and collective about it. You blow me off as if it's not a problem because I'm not screaming and shouting and hooting and hollering. And meanwhile, when people do those things to me, you are fine with it. You look the other way. You cannot tell me that you love me if you are willing to allow these things to happen to me. Just like the German people allowed those things to happen in World War II. They allowed it. And then they played stupid afterwards. You don't get the luxury of playing stupid because your stuff is up for the whole world to hear. Your own voice. What are you going to do, Terry? Punish me for telling the truth? I'm pretty fucking used to that. I love you. I would not just sit by and allow these things to happen to you. And I sure as hell wouldn't let them happen to Kim or Brandon or Jason. Happy New Year.